Welcome back, everybody. Well, it's Saturday. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I suppose. Been home from Red Power for about 2 hours or so. And one of the big reasons why you go is the swap meet, because you can find parts at those things that you just can't find everywhere. So I thought we'd do a quick video on what we have here. Let's start with this. This is the tail light off the 856 that's in really sad shape. I don't know how it got that way. They welded some big ugly washer on the carriage bolt. I thought about brazing that in there, and this was about the middle of last week, and I thought, going to Red Power, why not just get one there? So for $5, we got this here replacement. So that's good. Just put the light in there, put the bracket on there, and who knows, we might actually have a working tail light. It's possible. Picked up 5 carburetor flange gaskets and what I hope is a new sediment bowl valve. Those weren't too expensive either, so I think I gave $15 for that whole bag of goodies. We'll save those for later. Cub Cadet stuff. I bought all this stuff from Scott Urschel. I think he's in Indiana. He does a lot with Cub Cadets, and I do business with him every year at Red Power. And this fuel gauge gas cap and this seat are going to go on my tractor I call 782-2. These are pretty nice used tail lights. I'm not sure which tractor I'm going to put them on. Well, that one doesn't look too bad. 782-1 is sitting over there. We are now positive that it's the fuel pump that's the problem, and we're just going to fuel pump delete. But somewhere there's a Cub Cadet around here in need of tail lights, and it is going to get these. 1650 possibly, which would be good because red is the feature at Marshalltown this year, and 1650 is going to go. These don't look like a lot to the average person, and if bolts can be Kalsemy, these are. But these are square-headed. I believe they are 3/4 16. They look more like 5/8 18, and I'll bet that's what they are. Yeah, they're 5/8, but they're square-headed. Those are the wheel clamp bolts for the 100 series Farmall. They're really hard to find in good condition because they corrode really bad in this area. And some of these have some corrosion, but nothing like some of the ones that I had to put back in the 400 when I did the tires on it last year. Okay, moving on. I'll save that for last. I got this arrangement from the Graves Tractor people. I've really been struggling trying to get the 856 converted over to Pioneer. And there are parts on here. This is off of a 560, but there's stuff on here I can use on the 856. Hopefully I can at least get the left side converted over and maybe use the hoses on the right side if I can find some more couplers. I don't know. Anyway, there again, that whole collection was $50, and if you had to go, yeah, if you go buy all that stuff new, they're not cheap. Also from the bolts came from Graves Tractor, and as well as this. And when I walked through their trailer, I saw all these handles. And that got me curious. And so I had to go up back outside and ask him, I said, how much are you getting out of the handles? $3. Well, and some of the bigger ones are more expensive, but all of these little ones were $3 a piece. Bought 7 of them. And this was $5. And that's going to get installed post-haste because my potato fork, find us a Ross hammer here, has been junked for a long time. Tired of digging potatoes with a worn out fork. So we will persuade that in there the rest of the way here after a bit, and hopefully we have us a like new potato fork. And last but not least, I had to visit the Snap-on truck, and that is the first brand new Snap-on tool I have ever bought. And I see Ross using these all the time when he's doing electrical work, and he never mentions what brand they are or anything, but I just thought those have got to be Snap-on. They just look too good, and they're so handy. So, yeah, I left some money with the Snap-on guy. He sent me 2 of these bags so that I could give Mike one, because he's a Snap-on guy and didn't want him to be jealous. So that is my swap meet stuff that I brought home. I didn't shoot any video while I was there. I took a lot of stills. I will compile a collage of the stills and kind of try to narrate that. I've got to do one of those for the WHO tractor ride. I don't know, I'm kind of behind on stuff. We'll see. It may take a while. Anyway, all right guys, getting later in the afternoon, I'm getting ready to knock off, but I managed to get that light assembled, put on there. You can direct it where you need it. I don't know where we want to set it yet, and it works. That was news to me, but that old one, it always flopped like a fish, and I hated that, so that's more better. And we'll come outside here. And here's the 782. Wasn't too big a project to install that gas cap fuel gauge combo thing. And in all fairness, this one is not terrible. I will keep that because there are worse ones around here. But on a tractor that you're using, being able to read it readily is pretty handy. New seat looking good. There's the reason it got a new seat. And I'm not going to throw that away either, because there are other red Cubs around here that have got much worse seats than that. I put some slime in that tire. I'm going to have to drive her around kind of slow for a little while and then put it away and hope that that takes care of the problem. Anyway, slowly but surely this girl is improving. It needs a pair of bar tires in the worst way. These, they're probably the original, and they're Goodyears, and they've had their one good year. I tightened up the friction on the hydro lever a little bit, so I think that'll be a big improvement too. I don't use this tractor a lot, but when the other one gets bulky, it gets to fill in, and that's happened a couple of times already this year. So when you run mowers that are 40 or 50 years old, it pays to have a fleet of them. Thanks for watching.